Stress. Why did I say it like that? I don't know. We're going to talk about stress today. We're going to talk about exactly what is stress, how we respond to stress, and some coping strategies with stress. So here we go. Health psychology. If you remember way back in Unit 1, we talked about different types of careers in psychology. Health psychology was one of them. It's a subfield. It uses psychological and behavioral principles to study health and illness, specifically stress in our case. So what is stress? Here's our working definition. It's a mental and physical. It can be one or the other. Usually it's both. Mental physical condition when a person encounters a demand and has to adapt. That demand is going to be any kind of change. It could be positive change. It could be negative change. It could be the death of a loved one. It could be vacation. Any of those changes we have to adapt to, that causes stress. I'm going to move my face. Zoom! Eustress is the positive form of stress. So you can see in the little chart down there, we have eustress. It's something positive. It could be like vacation. It could be getting a new job, going to college, and our performance can continue to go up as that stress increases. This can be really good. This can push us to achieve our goals. Think about exercise. Think about, I got a test tomorrow and I haven't studied. That's going to push me to study. Eustress is positive stress, while distress is our negative stress, just the opposite, right? Losing a job, it's a big change moment, but we're going to have to deal with that. We don't want to. It's a negative type of stress. And finally, the stressor is the event that is challenging or threatening that we have to adapt to and change to. So these can be daily hassles, relationship troubles, financial problems, all these different things that we encounter every day, different stressors. How do we respond to stress? First off, we have our primary appraisal, a stressor, a change happens, we understand, and we're like, boom, is this going to be threatening? Is it bad? Is this good? Quickly, we go into our secondary appraisal. What am I going to do about it? How am I going to deal with this stressor? Some things that we think about. There are 4 factors right here. One is intensity of the stressor. Is it repeating? Is it unpredictable? And is it controllable? Those last 2 things are some of the most important. So if it's unpredictable, it's going to be way more stressful. Think about if you just have a pop quiz once a week, you don't know when it's coming, or you have a test in 2 weeks and you can plan for it. Way less stressful if you know what it is. The last one, controllable. This is one of the biggest factors. If you don't have control over what's going on, you're going to be way more stressed out than if you can make a plan and deal with that stressor as it comes. We can respond with displaced aggression. This could be towards another person, other object. I know I've done this. I've been in a grumpy mood. I go home and I'm angry. I'm short with my wife. Not very kind. I'm taking out my aggression on her, right? I might go exercise, a much more positive way to release that aggression. Escape. We can escape mentally or physically. So think about this. If you're a student and you don't like your teacher, you're trying to get out of that situation, you can either show up late to class, you can skip class, you can leave class, or you can just zone out, right? Pop in those earbuds. You can be on your phone, just not paying attention. Escaping mentally or physically is another way. Mood altering behaviors using alcohol, drugs, over-exercising is another one. Exercising we'll talk about next unit with clinical psychology. Exercising is one of the best ways to fight depression, cardiovascular exercise, but over-exercising to deal with stress can be a negative. Learned helplessness is something what happens if you're continually hit with that stressor. People become passive, withdrawn, depressed because they've learned that they can't get out of this stressed environment. Okay, general adaptation syndrome. This is a guy, Hans Selye. He proposed a 3-stage process that we go through when we respond to stress. So we got a little chart down here. The first one is an alarm. You see homeostasis on the left. We're just hanging out. That's our normal baseline level. Alarm, that first stage, we get hit with a stressor. You can see it actually dips down, our resistance dips down just a little bit, and then we start to build that resistance, right? Primary appraisal, oh, what's happening? Secondary appraisal, okay, what am I going to do about this? You evaluate it, you try and figure out how to cope. When we're in a resistance phase, we're doing it, we're working the system, we're doing our plan, we're studying for that big test, and we're doing okay, we're coping. However, if we stay in that resistance phase too long, we'll eventually get to the exhaustion phase. We're depleted, our immune system is down, we might get sick, we eventually get burnt out if we don't get out of that stressful environment. So I got up there, physical, mental, emotional burnout. Chronic stress is something that just continues to happen over time. Our stress response is the autonomic nervous system. You think about this, remember, it's fight or flight, right? So our bodies are so good at acute stress, right? A quick stressor that's coming, it hits us. We're very in tune. We're able to deal with that stressor very well because we have fight or flight. Physiological response to danger. What happens, if you remember back, Unit 2, our limbic system, our amygdala, angry lima bean, triggers our hypothalamus, which releases those hormones like adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol. Remember, cortisol is the stress hormone. What happens to our bodies then? We're ready to fight or run away. So if you're hiking in the woods, a cougar jumps out at you, your pupils dilate, right? So you can get more light in. Your heart rate, your blood pressure spike, so you can run or you can fight, and your blood sugar spikes, so you have energy to do all those things. That's really good in response to a quick stress. Think about over a long term. That's not going to be good for us. Personality also influences our responses to stress, kind of broken down to type A and type B. Type A people, competitive, hard driving at their worst. They might be impatient. These type of people are going to be at a greater risk of heart disease, just in how they respond, their perception to stress. Whereas type B people, more easygoing, more relaxed, very chill. Think about in your own life, who do you know that's type A? Who do you know that's type B? How do they approach situations? Type E people are going to be less risk for heart disease because they don't get those super highs or those super lows like type A personalities do. Once again, we're well adapted for acute stress. We are poorly adapted for long-term chronic stress. Coping with stressors. How do we deal with stressors, especially over the long term? Two things I got up here. One, negative, self-defeating attitudes and fears. And this just happens. We all experience this to some point. Some quotes I have here. I need love and approval before I can actually feel good about myself. That's not great. I'm bound to be hopeless because my problems in life are impossible, right? That's a self-defeating attitude, a fear. Positive coping strategies. So we have three types here. So we have problem-focused, finding another solution. Okay, my wife hates sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic. She would absolutely rather reroute on the side streets and not have to sit in bumper-to-bumper traffic, even if it takes 10 minutes longer. That's a problem-focused strategy. She knows that she gets stressed out in bumper-to-bumper traffic. I'll take 10 more minutes. I'll go on the side streets. I don't have to stress out about it. Appraisal focus. This is if we can't change the problem that we're in. This is when we reframe the stressor. So you're going to be in traffic, you're stuck in traffic, nothing you can do about it. But hey, I can listen to that audiobook I've been wanting to listen to, or that my fantasy football podcast. I love fantasy football. And I get that opportunity even in the midst of that stressor. And the third one is emotion focused. How can we control those negative emotions? I'm upset. However, I know myself. I can take 3 deep breaths. I can take a walk. I can calm down and not lose my temper. So I can change my focus on my emotions and how I'm feeling. Guys, we did it. That was super fast. Yes! Way to go. Proud of you. Let's do a couple quick questions. We'll wrap it up for the day. Let me move my face. Zoom. All right. Danielle was laid off from her job 6 months ago and has been unsuccessful at finding a new one. The income from her long hours of temp work barely cover her bills. She has begun to have frequent cold and flu symptoms and has become depressed. Danielle is most likely in the stage of Selye's general adaptation syndrome, known as, what is it? What are those 3 levels? Exhaustion, reaction, alarm, resistance, or delay. Look at the picture. It's my favorite type of one of these. It's an aspen tree. A for aspen trees. Exhaustion. You're in that exhaustion phase. Have you ever gotten sick during finals week or the week before finals weeks? You might be in that exhaustion phase. You might be going through that resistance of studying, and you get worn out, exhaustion, your body's depleted, you get sick. Back up top. All right. Which of the following is least likely to affect the immune system's ability to ward off illness? We got exposure to stress associated with final exam week, having a serious argument with a close friend, experiencing the death of a loved one, being around someone who has a serious case of the flu, yuck, or suffering sleep deprivation due to staying up for several nights writing a research paper. Does the picture help? Maybe. It's a tricky question. Remember, it's all about the immune system's ability to ward off illness. Which one of those does not affect the immune system? It is D, being around somebody sick. D for dinner party. I love dinner parties. Last one, individuals exhibiting a hostile type A personality pattern are at increased risk for what? I bet you know. Alzheimer's disease, cardiovascular disease, schizophrenia, substance abuse, or anorexia nervosa. What about that picture below? It is B, cardiovascular disease. B for balcony. You knew it. Great job. And just like that, my friends, we are done for the day. Great job. Do me a favor. Give me a 1-sentence summary, 20-word or so summary. It'll ingrain all that information in your brain. Go back, review your notes tomorrow, maybe in 3 days, maybe in 5 days. It's going to be sunk in there. Great job today. You're the best. Check out one of these other videos. Pew, 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 pew. Have an awesome day. With stress. That was a high voice. My hair's a little poofy today. All right. Coffee. See ya.